Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Where do you think your emotions will be week 2?
Honestly, I don't know. But I know this much, like Herm talked about, I'm going to be juiced up going into that week or whatever. But as far as once that game gets going, I'm going to be cool, calm, and collected because that's when I'm at my best. And, I'm looking forward to, like I said, looking forward to that week 2 matchup. Like J. Cole said, man, applying pressure, man. I can't wait to show up and do what I do in their face.
Oh, somebody been listening to J. Cole this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to do what I do.
Patrick Peterson.
Judd, do you know who J. Cole is? Really quick, let me interrupt.
No, I have no idea.
He's a rapper. I was hoping Judd would just.
J. Cole's is a Channel 5 Eyewitness News reporter.
Yes.
Guy.
I do know who Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and a pretty good litany of Arizona receivers are, though. So that's an interesting challenge. That's not going to be easy. What he's talking about doing.
That was Patrick Peterson on his weekly podcast talking about that game against the Cardinals early in the regular season. This is Purple Daily, presented by TCL. Enjoy more of what you love with TCL. Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, and Declan Goff, our executive producer. And we'll do a couple things on today's episode. We've got our Tuesday trivia, where I put you guys through the Vikings trivia grinder mentally.
We got Declan. Mm-hmm. He one question last week. One question. You asked one question trivia last week. Declan, do you not remember the walk-off?
Right. Sometimes you use shorthand, and I have to figure out what my brain is not very good.
Last week on trivia, you asked one question.
And I nailed it.
And you were Aroldis Chapman right now. You threw him one pitch.
One pitch, baby.
It was into the right field seat.
Were you stealing signs? Stealing signs? You knew it. You knew it was coming.
Sticky stuff on the finger.
Yeah, did you stop using sticky stuff for Aroldis?
But the other thing we're going to dive into here right off the top are the players who have the most on the line for the Vikings in training camp. And yes, we are about 3 weeks away from Vikings training camp here. We've almost made it through the entire offseason with no games. I mean, the Vikings haven't played a game in like 7 months. And so we're excited for training camp to start again. But let's Judd, you go ahead. You've got someone in mind. You told us before we cracked the mics that we need to shine a light on this particular thing.
Yes.
Because we're always early on things, and sometimes people call us reckless in our discussions and speculation. But listen, sometimes you might be early and wrong. Sometimes you might be a visionary. And we'll see what this is. Go ahead, Judd.
This is going to become a big story as training camp opens eventually at some point in time, especially if the position is not filled as it should be. We all know that the Vikings, and Zim in particular, went to great lengths to address a defense that was flat out bad in 2020, and that there have been a lot of additions and guys coming back from injury made that are expected to make this again probably best case top 10 defense. But let me shine a light on the one position where the Vikings actually pursued guys in free agency, failed. And I'll start off with a name and then get into the position, okay? Pressure on a player to produce. And in some ways, this is a great opportunity as well. But the name is Stephen Weatherly, who had 6 combined sacks. He had 3 sacks in 2018 as a Viking, 3 sacks in 2019, and then got a free agent deal from the Carolina Panthers, where he played in, I believe, 6 games before he got hurt in 2021. He had 0 sacks. He's back now. So he had a bad year, got released by the Carolina Panthers.
You just bashed the Sid Hartman bobblehead.
I didn't mean to bash the Sid Hartman bobblehead. I'd like to apologize, Sid and Zach Levine, 2 close personal friends. Anyway, Weatherly is back in the fold. And I think when you look at the depth chart at right defensive end, I think we should be focusing, because it appears right now that the Vikings are not going to make an addition, certainly a significant one, at that position, opposite Danielle Hunter, where, of course, for years, Hunter had Everson Griffen, who would like to come back, but I would not bring him back. I think he is well past his expiration date as a player.
Yeah, how about that?
So the depth chart goes Weatherly, DJ Wanham, who was a 4th-round pick in 2020 and had 3 sacks in 14 games last year, but that was a situational player. He wasn't being asked to start. Patrick Jones, a 3rd-round pick this year, and then Janarius Robinson, a 4th-round pick this year. So Stephen Weatherly, to me, gentlemen, first day of training camp, is at the top of that depth chart with the opportunity to win a job at what the Vikings consider to be a premier, well, heck, not just the Vikings, the whole league does, a very important position. And I think we should start the focus right now because that's the one area where the Vikings are tried to sign guys, couldn't, and now we're going internal. And if your right defensive end is not effective, that allows you to pay more attention to Hunter on the left side, who's coming back from a neck problem. Let's not dismiss this as a given that it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of surprised. I didn't think you were going to say Stephen Weatherly's name, but it makes sense in that they are so unproven at that position. I think it's going to wind up being a rotation of guys. I think your friend at the right defensive end spot is going to be freshness and health. I don't think you're going to gain much by putting somebody out there for like 700 or 800 snaps and having them be sort of depleted from a gas tank standpoint and not necessarily starting caliber. I think running fresh bodies out there on a regular basis is going to make the most sense. But Stephen Weatherly, it should be his job to lose to start with. I think DJ Awanem is going to wind up, if I had to make a guess, I would say DJ Awanem winds up with the most snaps. But in this conversation, one of the names I was going to throw out in terms of just like most important training camp players that have the most on the line as training camp, could you make an argument that Danielle Hunter's on this list?
Sure.
That nobody has seen this guy play football in like 2 years? I mean, the last time he played a meaningful snap was literally like 18 months ago. And so by the time training camp rolls around, it's going to be 19 months. By the time week 1 of the regular season rolls around, it's going to be 20, 21 months since he last played a meaningful snap in the NFL. And so I think he has a lot on the line financially. I think he has a lot on the line just from a career standpoint and, what kind of player he can be. So, the Vikings' right and left defensive ends are for different reasons, are both in that conversation.
The one thing I would say at right defensive end is if it's fine to have a rotation of guys and depth guys that you trust, but that's such an important position that I think if your true premise is it's a rotation of guys, it basically is like quarterback. It means that you don't have one. And that's such an important position to get right. But I mean, can one of these guys step up and emerge? Because if they can't, and it's just a rotation of, this guy got 2 sacks and maybe this, I don't think that might be an answer at a defensive tackle position. I don't think that's an answer at right defensive end. So I think it's imperative that if this team is going to be as successful as we think it can be, especially on the defensive side of the ball with all the changes, that somebody emerges at least as the dominant presence. And it's not, Weatherly played and now it's Wanham and now it's Jones. And I know for a fact during the early portion of OTAs, Patrick Jones, the second from Pittsburgh, who was the 3rd round pick, is a guy that they liked a lot. And I think that they're hoping that he can be the next Hunter in the sense that he was good in college, but there's more there. But I really think that going into camp, there's going to be a need to have somebody at least emerge as the best player at that spot. Because if you start the year with, we got 4 guys, I would argue you really don't have a guy at all.
Well, you brought up an interesting name and an interesting report that came out. I believe it was late last week here in just a second. But I need to call a TO, baby, as Dick Vitale would say, because
it's a 20 or a full.
I am feeling great in my Chill Boys boxer briefs right now.
Full timeout.
I mean, how do those Chill Boys make you guys feel? Just be honest with me.
Free and easy and like I can breathe. Let me say this.
Like a new man.
Fresh leash on life. It's a fresh, it's great. I mean, I feel Chill Boys give me the opportunity that in 51 years on this earth, I have not had it. And Dex, I know that you're a youngster.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that you feel the same exact way, which is every day that I start with Chill Boys, I know I'm going to be comfortable when I sit down all day.
Look, it was a swampy weekend in the Twin Cities. We were near triple digits. I played 18, and I can tell you right now, my golf balls, those were a different story. The Chill Boys, they provided a little more comfort than normal. Yeah. So I'll tell you right now, if you're active and you're moving around, Chill Boys is where it's at.
And you're not going to lose those balls.
You will not lose those balls.
Yeah.
No, you will not.
That's a whole other topic.
And at Chill Boys, they're passionate about your comfort. Chill Boys, born in Minnesota. Find them at chillboys.com. legitimately life-changing. We are all wearing
Here,
them right now.
I'm wearing them. Are you wearing yours?
Don't show them.
I'm not
I
going
don't
to show
need
them.
to see that.
I'm not going to do that
Maybe-
to people because my shirt might come up. And
If I nail the random Viking of the week, I'm showing them off.
okay, well,
If
you
I-
can
actually,
because you're
I'm
thin.
the first guess.
I'm not.
Random Viking of the week is going to be tomorrow. I've got
That's
your
right.
Vikings
Or about the
trivia today.
Tuesday.
Trivia.
That's right.
But
Keep track of
you-
what we're doing, okay?
Yeah.
Golf.
I'm trying.
Take your pants off however you want. You mentioned Everson Griffin and Paul Allen from KFXN Radio in the Twin Cities area. He said, I believe on his show, that Everson Griffin really wants to come back to the Vikings. I think this would have been a consideration before he went nuclear on Twitter about 5 or 6 months ago and just destroyed Kirk. He was destroying Cousins and maybe even a couple other guys, but he specifically said Kirk Cousins is ass, I believe, in responding to somebody. So I just don't know that you can drop that in the locker room here. However, last season, if you're talking about guys in-house right now,
Yep.
Everson Griffin, according to Pro Football Focus, would have been the Vikings' best edge rusher just from a pure pass rushing standpoint. He had a grade of about 75 out of 100, which is still very much well above average as a pass rusher. So if you're just looking for a guy, even on third downs, to come out and pin his ears back, so to speak, you can find worse options than, 33-year-old Everson Griffin? So I would consider it.
So he could come back if all was well between him and the team as a third down specialist now, right? He's not a 3-down player, but he definitely could come back and from the right end position probably provide a push on third down or inside too. But you're right. Like he's gone. So I'd say when he basically, before the Lions played the Vikings last year, I think at US Bank Stadium, and Ev came out and said that Zimmer didn't respect him and went on and on about that. I think Zim's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then when he called Cousins ass on Twitter, which is hysterically funny, and deleted it, you can't delete that. So yeah, if you're the Vikings, you don't need that. You just don't. You don't. And the problem is, they very much did at the start of the free agents period try and acquire and sign a guy that could have an impact and be a 3-down guy, and they didn't. And it's, if you think about it defensively, it's the one place they came up short, right? Like everything else, they're getting guys back or they sign guys. I'm not saying they signed the best player, but they certainly found replacements. So right defensive end is the one position, and it's a premium position. It's hard to find guys that they didn't manage to address, and I'm very curious to see now, because I don't think you're going to find a guy released during training camp who you're going to say, oh man, he's going to be outstanding. So I think the competition that you have is probably the competition.
Yeah. All right, next one here, I'm going to throw another name out in terms of guys who have the most on the line for training camp here. I don't think his job is on the line for week 1, but I think the groundwork could be laid in training camp for a short leash on Garrett Bradbury. All right, I think Bradbury is going to take a step forward. He's very good as a run blocker, but he's one of the worst pass protectors in the entire NFL across all offensive line positions. And the Vikings went out this offseason and they said, all right, Mason Cole can play any of the 3 interior offensive line spots. His best position, I think his best position was left guard for like 200 or 300 snaps with the Cardinals. We can verify that, but like he's played center for a large chunk of snaps. He's been a starting center in the NFL. So they finally have a guy in here, and now is he going to come in and be Matt Burke in his prime? No, but like they've got a veteran replacement sitting right behind Garrett Bradbury for the first time, and so if he looks questionable as a pass protector in training camp and in the full team practices and preseason games, I think the leash is going to be a lot shorter in the month of September for him. What do you guys think?
Because he's a first-round pick, I don't know about that yet, but I do think that this is his make-or-break year for sure. So when you say that his future could be, at least it would start to be set by training camp, I agree completely. I don't know that his job's in jeopardy to Mason Cole during the course of the season unless he gets hurt or is just awful. But I do think the training camp's the start of, okay, dude, it's go time now. And we don't mean run blocking. We mean pass protection too. So if he has another questionable year, I don't think you pick up the fifth-year option, and I think that there's a chance you start to look for a replacement, which is a huge deal when you consider this was a first-round center. Like, you can't miss on those. Those aren't like, well, we took a center in the first round. If you take a center in the first round, that's a position where it has to be a hit. And if he fails in pass protection this season, they miss badly. So I don't think he's in immediate trouble in 2021, but I think you're exactly right as far as the ground being set for potential problems.
Mm-hmm. And here's another one to throw out there, too. All right, this is probably the most obvious one. Mm-hmm. All eyes are going to be on Greg Joseph this training camp. You're going to have beat writers tracking his statistics during practice when he runs out there.
Write them all down.
Tom Pelissero, the godfather of tracking training camp statistics.
Yep.
And if he misses, 5 kicks or something in a practice, it's not gonna go under the radar. Let's put it that way. As long as media is allowed to watch all of these kicks, and so you've got an impatient coach who hasn't been great at connecting with kickers, and the Vikings. We know the franchise's track record with kickers. So if the question here is who's got the most on the line at training camp, the Vikings kicker always has a lot on the line, and Greg Joseph would fall squarely in that category.
This remains, I believe, the single most inexplicable thing that the Vikings have done during the course of the spring and summer. I don't get this one. I mean, Greg Joseph basically hasn't kicked in games for how long? 2 years? 3 years? And he was on Tampa Bay's practice squad, and like the buzz around him is Tampa Bay protected him every week. Okay, he didn't kick for him. I don't understand how a team that has a coach who can't stand kickers is like, unless there's something else we don't know, if they're waiting on somebody else or there's something. But I mean, right now it's Greg Joseph and I believe an undrafted free agent. Oh, good luck to him to compete for a job that, again, is incredibly important. And the Tampa Bay game you lost because of your kicker, and that was a veteran.
Is it possible?
This is the one I don't get, Phil.
Maybe we have just a skewed perception of how good a kicker needs to be. I think with some of these great, like Justin Tucker has ruined it for everybody, right? And Adam Vinatieri up until like 3 years ago has ruined it for everyone. That we think if you don't have Justin Tucker, then you just got to keep rifling through kickers. Well, we're just going to have to maybe live with some missed kicks once in a while. And
you do.
Call for a guy's head every time.
But it was Kai Forbath. He missed some extra points. Okay, that sucks. But you know what he did? He made some incredibly big field goals. Now, I'd like to talk to Zim for one second if he's watching this. Extra points are worth 1 point.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Field goals are worth 3 points. So if I've got a guy who misses, and by the way, a lot of guys, since it got moved back for the extra point, have struggled. I get that. That's fine. But the Forbath thing, you found a guy who basically was going to be as good as it gets for you. Like, I don't know why, but Zimmer didn't seem to bother him, right? The kick against the Saints in the Miracle game is why we saw the miracle, because he made that kick, which was, 52 yards, I believe? Something like that?
That's a big boot.
Okay. So, you've hit it there. You're just fine. Everything's fine. And you get the harebrained idea to draft a guy with a big leg, who I understand has turned out to be good, but guess where he wasn't good? For your coach. It's one of the biggest miscommunications, I think, between GM and coach we've seen. But Kai Forbath was your guy.
Whatever happened to that one guy? Who was the guy that they traded a 5th-round pick to Baltimore for?
Vedvik, was it?
Kerry Vedvik.
Vedvik.
Yeah, Kerry Vedvik from and then that pick got sent from Baltimore to Jacksonville for a really good player in a trade. I have no idea, but I mean that was another weird one. But why are they always so panicked and doing such weird things with kickers?
I don't know, man. It's
it's an important job.
But
it's not just
Greg Joseph's definitely
okay. I'll give you a perfect special teams example because this drives me crazy. Okay, the punt return thing last year is embarrassing, but if you find a Bobby Wade type of guy, right, just fair catch it, dude, and you go through the year with 5 punt return yards, okay, that's not ideal, but it's not killing you. Just don't fumble, right? But the kicker thing is you can't piecemeal that and be like, well, it's going to be good enough. You're either confident or you're not. That's not the punt return job is we're not super confident, but we think it's okay, so it might be okay.
I think part of the problem, though, with kickers is it seems like right now across the NFL, there's 32 teams and 12 reliable kickers, right? There's not 25 reliable kickers out there. there's Justin Tucker and then like 10 others. He's in a category of his own. And then there's like 10 other guys. And then everyone is sort of in the same boat beyond that. So more than half the league is like kind of year to year or even week to week with their kickers. And so I don't know if, it feels like quarterbacks are just coming out of the woodworks out of college and like they're just jumping right in. Kyler Murray just jumping right in. And there's some busts, but quarterback play has just elevated year after year after year after year, right? It almost feels like kickers have eroded. Like the top 10 are going to be great, but we need some sort of, that Trent Dilfer Elite 11 camp for quarterbacks. Like, do we have that for kickers?
I don't know, but that's a great
something
point.
where like blowing air horns in their helmet?
Longwell might know.
Maybe he should start. Maybe we should start this business with Ryan.
But
this might be a genius idea.
McAfee should start this.
He's a punter,
he's
though, right?
a punter.
But still, he can. He's weird enough that he could do something like this.
Yeah, but I don't want a weird guy. I want a sane guy. Longwell sane. That's what I want. But the thing with Zimmer is, like, what Mike should sit down with 2 glasses of red wine and digest is this fact. Mike, you're always, and it's fine, but you're always what? After defensive guys, right? Because he wants people to play his system and be good in their jobs. Maybe not great, but good. Kickers should be in the same breath to Mike, because if he took care of that, he wouldn't have to worry about it. Like, okay, you're going to miss some extra points. You're going to miss some long kicks. I get that. But do you realize we've had kickers under Mike who have basically gone nuts? Like Dan Bailey last year in the Tampa Bay game, he's missing by so much. Like he couldn't make a kick.
That Tampa Bay game, I honestly empathize and side with Mike Zimmer. It's like, dude, you're a professional. You've been doing this for like 10 years. Do your job. Don't miss a kick by 40 yards to the left.
Which is how you ended up with
Why
a
are you
guy
so
who would
nervous?
go,
Like, I understand. Some of this, I understand Mike's perspective. It's like, guys, I mean, we're literally out here bashing our brains in with these other positions. You got guys who are risking, cutting 15 years off their life in the trenches, and we're scheming and we're game planning, and all we need you to do is just take a deep breath and make a damn field goal. All right?
That's my point is you got to find somebody who won't complete. Blair Walsh, Dan Bailey went nuts. You got to find a guy that won't go nuts. I understand you're going to miss field goals, but Dan Bailey had some kicks that were headed to Miami.
That is so worked up over kickers though today. It's
great. Oh, it drives me crazy.
It's nuts.
The kicker thing drives me crazy. I've got one because it involves Declan's favorite player.
Oh,
the heat is on.
It's been on for 3 years.
BC Johnson and Chad Beebe, third receiver. Because I think BB has a good chance to make the team as the punt return guy. But I think BC Johnson has to show a lot now. Like, I think this is the make or break. Because we all thought last year, he's the third guy. It's going to be great. And, he's okay, but he certainly wasn't special. But I think the pressure is on. Because if BC Johnson shines, that might be bad news for Chad Beebe.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna either sign someone or bring in a Larry Fitz at the last minute. Now, Larry Fitz is going to be courtside at all these finals games because he owns part of the Suns. But once those are over and once the grind of training camp is over and it's obvious that the Cardinals window has closed, Larry, bring it on home for 1 year.
I'm with you.
Throw that purple jersey on and be the Vikings' third wide receiver.
Love it.
2-3 targets a game. Just be there in the red zone for a big play once in a while. Let's make this happen. Let's bring Lair home. All right.
I'm on board, dude.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that one. I like that one.
Let's make it happen. I got some trivia for you guys here.
Okay.
Gonna try and stump you, but we have a new partner here on the show, Brainerd International Raceway. There's a fun 3-day stretch here in mid-July, July 16th through the 18th. Live racing is back with the second annual Jed Copham Memorial Race, a full weekend of live racing with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. It's been a 50-year tradition, the Trans Am Series at BIR, and has 5 different classes of racing, all on the 2.5-mile road course. So it's time to get out, enjoy some live racing. It's a blast up there at Brainerd International Raceway. You can get tickets and also camping packages at BIRMN.com. BIRMN.com. All right. You guys ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the preface to today's trivia, we always like to keep it topical here. So Jimbo Fisher talked to the Pioneer Press, and Jimbo Fisher laughed now in retrospect at the notion of Dalvin Cook falling to the second round. I'm going to read you this from the Pioneer Press. Fisher said that teams made a big mistake letting Dalvin Cook last that long in the draft. Quote, the Vikings got the steal of the draft in that one, I promise you. All the ones who didn't think he was first round, I never understood that, and I used to laugh at that, and that somebody's going to regret that one day. The 2017 draft, Leonard Fournette went really early, not as good as Dalvin Cook, right? Later in the draft, you had third-round backs like Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, James Conner, Tariq Cohen in the fourth round, Aaron Jones in the fifth round. All those guys have been Pro Bowlers. So those are a pretty good running back draft. I think Dalvin Cook's the best of that bunch. That's my buddy, Fisher said. It doesn't surprise me, whatever he does. He's as good as I've ever seen around, and as great of a player as he is, he's a better person. He's a workaholic, a team guy, and I love him to death. He had a bunch of other great things to say about Dalvin Cook. But here's my question for you guys. You get 3 wrong guesses combined. You're working as a team here. All right? I need, besides Dalvin Cook, the other 7 Vikings running backs who've gone for at least 1,000 yards or more in a regular season.
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah, let's talk it out.
Chuck Foreman is one of them.
Yep.
Let me know when these are official guesses. Let me know.
We're just, okay, please. We're
Yep.
just talking right now,
Just
Phil.
talking right now.
This is 2 friends.
Okay, so
I mean-
Chuck Foreman,
Father, son. Yes. Foreman, Robert Smith.
Robert Smith 2, Michael Bennett. He went over 1,000 once.
Yep. Adrian Peterson.
AP is 4.
Chester Taylor in his one season. Did he go 1,000? I thought he went up
I
for that.
think so.
In 2000, he carried
Put
the
him-
ball
put him down.
like
Put
every
him down.
time
Just to hit-
in
just for a
2006.
nice little name.
So
there.
these aren't official guesses yet? You're just
No.
going to dump
Well,
these all on me here?
Well, yeah, we'll go. We'll,
Hold on a second.
yeah.
You told us for 7 names, and then we're coming up with 7 names, and now we're not doing it right? Okay. Chester Taylor I've got put down.
Okay.
Hold on. Terry Allen back in the day.
Yeah. Yep.
Terry
I
Allen.
know the name.
When you were young.
Yep.
Tore his ACL a couple
Know the name.
times. So Foreman, Smith, Bennett, Peterson, Taylor, Terry Allen. 80s? They did not have. Did Ted Brown ever? I don't think Ted Brown ever got to 1,000.
Did Herschel Walker go over 1,000?
I don't. You know what? I don't know that he did here.
I mean, I know it was an epic flop and it's an insane trade, but
But you know what? He might have.
he might
too.
have be worth just
Okay, I'll put
him down, and now
Okay.
let's hit some of these off.
And-
So
and let's
Some
start-
of the
yep.
obvious ones, all right?
Yep.
Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
We'll give you that one.
Chuck Foreman,
Chuck Foreman,
Rob-
yes.
Robert Smith,
Yes.
Declan's one, Michael Bennett.
All right, you guys are doing well here so far.
Okay, Terry Allen, I'm very confident in.
okay,
Terry Allen.
how many is that?
That is
So you guys have said
5 of the
Adrian-
7.
Adrian Peterson, Dalvin Cook, we gave you already. Robert Smith, Terry Allen, Michael Bennett, and then who else did you guess?
Foreman.
Yep.
Chuck
Yep.
Foreman is correct.
Yep. So it's 7, but just to be clear again, it's 7 besides
Yeah, it's
Cook,
8
right?
including Cook.
It's 8 including Cook. Okay.
And so I need.
Okay. I
so
said
you guys-
Chester Taylor in 2006. I said.
Yeah. Give
Chester
it.
Is that an
Taylor?
official guess?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, you get 3 wrong guesses to guess the last
Ooh.
one on this list.
Okay.
Okay. So Declan, you said Herschel Walker, which I'm going to put down.
Yeah.
Ted Brown, I don't think ever got to 1,000, although he was the primary back.
Is that Boom Boom? Is that boom?
No, that's
Look
That
at
was
me.
Bill.
Bill Brown.
Brown.
And Bill Brown was, I think back then you didn't
Okay.
have that problem with guys like Bill Brown. So Herschel Walker, Ted Brown.
Like I don't know his first name. I just called him Boom Boom. Is that Boom Boom?
Yeah. No, but that's fine. I mean, you did the right
Boom Boom.
thing. You did the right thing there. Hold on a second. Is there anybody in the 2000s we're missing then?
I mean, like the only guys, and I don't think
Before-
never, like Mo Williams, Muelde Moore, Ontario Smith never
Yeah, I
got
know.
to 1,000. They had some nice games for sure,
Yeah.
but they never went to 1,000.
So anybody between, so it basically went Robert Smith,
yeah,
a lot of just random dudes,
dudes.
but Michael Bennett was in
Michael
there.
Bennett had the one.
And then AP,
Couple names out there that haven't even been bandied about yet. It's
and then AP.
possible that you've
McKinnon
already said
didn't.
this name. I don't know.
Jarrett McKinnon was it.
Did no? He had a crap ton of touchdowns.
And he caught a bunch of- and he caught passes.
Got to 1,000
Because he was sort of an amply. Now, Roger Craig played for the Vikings, but I don't think he ever got to 1,000 here. He was older by then. What?
No, this is great. I love this. I feel like I'm in command, even though you only have one left here.
I feel like we should.
Three wrong guesses.
I feel like we should start by guessing, since we have 3 strikes. Herschel Walker. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I'm fine throwing it out there.
Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker.
Yep.
Herschel Walker ran for 825 yards in 1991.
I think he went over 1,000 then with the Eagles after he left Minnesota.
Classic.
I will not tell you whether you've said or haven't said the name of this person yet, but I will say that there are a couple names that have not been mentioned that are
who are we?
Interesting names.
Are we just for a hint, give us eras. Like, are we talking a long time ago, or are we talking, because it seems like 2000 we've hit on everybody.
In my lifetime.
Okay, so 93?
What's the question?
Is
in Declan's lifetime.
Between 93 and 2021.
That's such a, I mean, that's a ridiculous hint.
Okay, all right.
Let me give you a different hint, okay?
Okay.
It's for sure after the Vikings were done with their 4 straight Super Bowls.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can eliminate like old Vikings.
Okay. So after Chuck Foreman.
You can eliminate Boom Boom.
Yep. So 60s and 70s are now out, and we gave you Chuck Foreman. Mm-hmm. So Dex, we're talking about from 1977 on, and Foreman, by the way, played a couple more years. Then Ted Brown came in, and I don't think it's Ted Brown. I don't think he ever got to 1,000 yards. I might be wrong. So in the 80s, we went from, because the Vikings had a dearth of good running backs for a long time pre-Robert Smith. I remember that was always a challenge, was finding a replacement, and they finally drafted Smith.
So did it go Terry Allen then Robert Smith? Who was the gap before?
Yeah, and Terry Allen then got
Herschel.
hurt. It went Herschel. So who was right before Herschel? I'm trying to remember who was right before Herschel. Because they obviously felt the need to replace him quickly since they made that trade during the season.
Oh, man. Sorry, that was the wrong button.
I'm just trying. I'm stumped. I'm trying to think of who I'm missing, and I'm sure people are yelling at the podcast right now with the name. And I can't.
I mean,
this is great theater. This is great theater.
But we got 7 of them.
We said AP, right? We said AP.
Yes.
So like I'm making
the
sure
2000s. Okay,
was something.
Dex, the 2000s. Yeah, sorry.
This incredible tap dancing by Judd and Declan is powered by Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Federated's been around for over 100 years. Give you guys a chance to think for a few seconds here.
I'm trying to think of the 80s.
The industries Federated works with are just a wide range across the board. Auto services, woodworking, contractors, wholesalers, retailers. If you are a business owner looking for resources, frontline protection, and peace of mind, and just tools and people that can help protect your business, Federated is here to help. Federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
And we appreciate that. All right, back to Alfred Anderson replaced. So he was involved. He's not one of them.
No, he is.
Rick Fenny was a fullback. I'm trying to think of before Herschel, like who we would have missed before Herschel. Because the 2000s, Dex, the 2000s are Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
Bunch of Slappies, right?
Slappies, yeah.
Slappies replaced by Peterson. Who was here forever. Or I'm sorry, replaced by Taylor, and then by Peterson.
I'm going to have to put a time limit on this of 60 seconds.
Okay.
I mean,
no, I agree.
Long.
And then after Peterson, are we missing? I feel like Phil's is clues more from the 90s.
If it's someone in the last 20 years, I'm going to lose my mind. I really don't know. Like I feel like I've exhausted all my Vikings running back resources here.
I mean, you get 2 more. I mean, you get your.
Yeah. All right. Well,
40 seconds left.
No, he never did it. That's dumb. It's a running back.
I will say there is a name that has not been mentioned yet that I'm shocked has not been mentioned. I'm not going to tell you whether that person is the correct answer or not, though.
Toby Gerhart never got to it.
25 seconds.
No. All right, we'll guess Ted Brown.
Ted Brown is
We got it! We got it! I never thought he got to 1,000. We got it! JT Brown's dad!
1,063 yards back in 1981.
So who shocks you? Who didn't get mentioned?
Darren Nelson. Darren Nelson ran for 893 yards in 1985. Also, Dave Osborne had 972 back in the 60s for the Vikings. And did you know Latavius Murray ran for 842 in 2017?
Yeah,
we
was pretty solid.
We should have mentioned he was really good.
Day train.
Wow. Nice job, you guys. All right. You buzzed through the first 6 right away, and then you.
Well, we take our craft seriously here.
Yeah.
Like we don't just like blow it off.
You guys are true professionals when it comes to it. And we'll
like
do
that.
random Viking of the week too, and see if Declan can. I don't know if it's possible to be better than Declan was last week, guessing Tavares Jackson
That's
after
what it
like
was.
one syllable of my
No,
first
it's not.
clue. This Vikings player completed
Tavares Jackson.
Tavares Jackson. What?
It was like name that tune. I can get that tune in one note. Tavares.
Daily Vikings Entertainment. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us every day here. Please click subscribe on our Purple Daily YouTube channel. Well, we're up over 15,000 subscribers now. And we also have another YouTube channel, Score North MN, where we just surpassed the 6,000 sub mark over the weekend. So thanks to everyone for hanging out with us, and we'll hit you with some Write That Down predictions on tomorrow's show.